You know that feeling when you're reading a textbook and you get the facts, but you don't really get it? Like you're just missing the bigger picture? Well, today, we're exploring what happens when the textbook gets left on the shelf and the classroom becomes, well, one of the wildest places on Earth. We're going from paper theory straight to the pulse of the planet.
So it really makes you wonder, right? How do you truly learn about something like wildlife conservation? I mean, sure, you can memorize a ton of statistics about endangered species, you can draw those super detailed food webs, but does that really help you grasp the true, dynamic, and let's be honest, often messy reality of protecting our planet's biodiversity? Is that something you can learn in a lecture hall, or is the real lesson somewhere else entirely?
Okay, so let's break this down. On one hand, you've got your textbook knowledge. And look, it's essential, right? It gives us the vocabulary, the basic frameworks. But on the other side, you have field insight. This is a whole different ballgame. It's the difference between reading that a tiger is an apex predator and understanding it in your gut, feeling that electric tension in the air when you know one is nearby. That's the moment a food web stops being some neat little chart and becomes this raw, unpredictable daily drama.
To really see that difference, we're heading to a pretty special place, Kaziranga National Park in India. Seriously, forget desks and whiteboards. This place is a living laboratory where every single lesson is taught by the environment itself. What students get to see here is basically a masterclass in what scientists call in situ conservation. All that means is protecting a species right where it lives, in its natural habitat. So we're not talking about zoos here. We're talking about preserving the entire ecosystem, the soil, the water, the plants, and of course, all the animals that call it home. And who are the star professors in this living classroom? Oh, just the icons of Kaziranga. We're talking about the magnificent one-horned rhinoceros. I mean, a true prehistoric giant. You've got the powerful Asian elephant, elusive tigers, huge herds of swamp deer and wild water buffalo, and skies that are just filled with countless migratory birds. These aren't just pictures in a book anymore. They are the living, breathing reason this place is so fiercely protected. And what's so fascinating is seeing how the park's real estate is divided up. You know, conservation isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. The rhinos and elephants, they absolutely thrive in the grasslands, but the water buffalo need the swamps. And the tiger, well, it relies on that dense forest for cover. This just perfectly illustrates a core lesson. If you want to protect a species, you have to protect its specific home. So we've met the residents, but what actually keeps them safe? It's not magic, that's for sure. It's this complex, multi-layered system of protection. Let's actually dig in and look at the anatomy of the park's defenses. It all starts with a really strong legal foundation. First up, you have India's Wildlife Protection Act from 1972, which provides all the legal muscle. Then, it was designated as a national park, which gives it the highest level of protection in the whole country. And finally, getting recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site that elevates its importance to a global scale. It brings in international support and, frankly, a lot of eyes. It's like a triple-layered shield. And on the ground, that shield becomes real, boots-on-the-ground action. Students actually see active anti-poaching patrols, the brave men and women who are the frontline defenders. They learn all about buffer zones, which are these critical areas around the park that kind of soften the edges between the wilderness and human settlements. And they see how huge national programs like Project Tiger and Project Rhino funnel focused resources and expertise right where they're needed most. But here's the thing. Effective conservation isn't just about patrols and big policies, it's about people. The story of Kaziranga is totally incomplete if you don't understand the complex, really delicate relationship between the park and the communities living right on its edge. This quote from someone in the surrounding villages just says it all. The lines are blurry. I mean, especially during the annual floods of the Brahmaputra River, animals are forced out of the park looking for higher ground, and they often end up right in villages and on farms. And as you can imagine, this creates some intense conflict over resources and just safety. So this is the core problem. You've got conflict driven by competition for resources and by natural disasters. Now, the old way of thinking might have been to just, build higher fences. But the modern and way more effective solution is integration. It's about turning local communities from being just bystanders or even adversaries into the park's greatest allies. The big question is, how on earth do you do that? Well, here's a key part of the solution. You give people a direct economic stake in the park's survival. Through community-based ecotourism, local people can become guides, run homestays, sell crafts,
and suddenly a living rhinoceros is worth infinitely more to them than a dead one. When the health of the park is directly linked to the prosperity of the village, you create maybe the most powerful conservation tool there is. So this whole experience also builds a brand new skill set. We're moving beyond the big picture now. Students are actually being equipped with the practical, hands-on tools of a modern conservationist. This is where they really learn to read the landscape. So take a term like a transect walk. In a textbook, it's just a dry definition, right? But in Kaziranga, it's an action. Students are literally walking a specific predetermined line, and they're carefully recording every animal, every track, every single sign they see. It's a fundamental technique that transforms what looks like a simple walk in the park into a systematic collection of really valuable scientific data. And that transect walk is just one piece of the larger scientific process they learn out there. First, you observe, using these structured methods. Second, you record everything in painstaking detail, what you saw, where you saw it, what it was doing. And third, you analyze that data. It's this whole process that helps park managers understand population trends and, ultimately, the overall health of the entire ecosystem. So what's the final impact of an experience like this? Well, it's basically a perfect score, 100%. The analysis shows that this single field visit reinforces every single major concept in the wildlife conservation syllabus. It is the ultimate bridge between theory and reality, and it solidifies knowledge in a way that no classroom, no textbook ever could. In the end, I think the biggest lesson from Kaziranga is that conservation isn't some abstract subject. It's a living, breathing balance, a balance between species, their habitats, and the people they share the world with. And that kind of makes you wonder. You might not have a tiger in your backyard, but what living classroom is waiting for you? A local park, a river, maybe a small forest? What balance is out there waiting to be observed, understood, and protected right where